In this video, I catch up with Master Ski Coach Harald Harb, who shares his frustration about certain YouTubers grabbing his gold nuggets from his revolutionary PMTS primary movements teaching system without fully understanding the bigger picture. Harald also walks you through his famous Phantom move, a revolutionary approach that uses specific primary movements on the inside half of the body to set up success on the outside ski. But wait, there's more. We've got big news for everyone looking to take their skiing to the next level. Halfway through the video, we announced the launch of the brand new Harb Ski Academy, an online community designed to transform your skiing and make this your best season on snow. For a limited time, you can sign up for a free 7-day trial by clicking the link below this video. For those of you who have been to camp and trained with Harald or are extremely familiar with PMTS, you'll notice that as Harald walks you through his Phantom move description in this video, he's now much more cautious about giving away his absolute best advice on YouTube. That's because there are the copycat coaches out there who haven't put in the time and effort to fully learn his system. Then they deliver this weird mismatch of so-called advice that's not helping anyone. This is one of the main reasons why we created the Harb Ski Academy over the past few months, where you'll get unfiltered access to Harald's expert insights each week. As always, I've included timestamps so you can jump around and watch the parts that interest you the most. Now let's dive into my conversation with the one and only Harald Harb, and I look forward to seeing you inside the Academy. It's a great opportunity to grab Harald in between his sold-out camps for this season, because we wanted to talk about something that you showed me in 1997, completely blew my mind and got me back into ski coaching and changed my skiing career. And obviously, as more and more people have found you, the word's getting out, and there's a lot of people who are starting to not necessarily imitate, but gain inspiration or whatever from your work. But there's kind of a mixed bag of information out there. So here's an opportunity for us to talk about your Phantom move and go from there and I guess clear up some of the myths that might be starting to build out there about your system and how it actually works.
Yeah, well, it's a pleasure to be with you again. We haven't talked in a while, especially online or recorded. Yeah. It's been winter for you and it's been summer for me, and we're into a new winter, and we've had 2 camps already, and they've been hugely successful. A-Basin, we've had amazing snow, the storms, real natural snow on top of snowmaking. So skiing is great. So that's a happy thing that's going on. And yeah. We started another camp right after New Year's on the 6th, and we go on through the season. So let me get back to what's kind of transpired here. You know, there's, Malcolm Gladwell, who's had written all these inspirational type books that we probably both started reading, and many millions of others 10 or 15 years ago. Well, one of the tipping point, he talks about tipping point thing, where everything kind of grows and grows and grows for a while, and then all of a sudden it just kind of splashes over and then it just blows up, right?
Right.
Well, my customers or clients or people I ski with, friends, have said this over the years, and they said, "Oh, you're right at the tipping point, right?" And I'm going, "Well, not really." And I go, "Well, sure, I'd love to see it." But I wish it would hurry up, and get there. But no, there's been some amazing recognition, not only in the U.S. but in Europe and around the world. So, and how do I know? Well, I go to Instagram and people are responding. I go to my Facebook channel is like exploded. I'm over 10,000 viewers and followers on Facebook and friends and when I used to get maybe 30 responses for a little short tips thing that I would put up with photos on certain movements and skiing, and now I get like 300. Right. Just times 100 times 3, whatever.
Yeah.
Do the math. But I wanted to for this point of discussion, I wanted to maybe just give a little bit of history and then maybe clarify some things that are going on that I'm seeing that are actually kind of concerning about the messages that are out there about how people are copying, interpreting my message, my system.
Yeah.
And where I see things that could be problematic for people who want to, the YouTube is full of ski tips, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I get more than most because that's who I am, skier, and I put up ski stuff, so I get a lot of input. I mean, I can't go to Instagram without a ski tip showing up right away, right? For some reason.
Yeah.
And so I see what people are doing and how they're doing it, and there's a lot of disturbing things going on. Not relative to PMTS, just disturbing ski instruction in general. It's horrible. I mean, I'm talking about things that are going to damage your skiing instead of help it. And from the beginning, when I started writing my books and writing, about my system, which is A to Z, which is beginner to expert, World Cup racer, all the way through, has all the stages, all the steps to improve your skiing movement. We've seen, if you miss a step, if you misinterpret a step, if you're not accurate with how you build it, then it's kind of like building a building and you're putting cement in places, and all of a sudden some guy comes along and says, no, we didn't use as much concrete mix on this cement, and the foundation in that corner could crumble. Or the house could fall over, right, or fall apart. And that's kind of what I'm seeing when you miss steps within our system. And so I've been teaching this as a race coach before I was involved in ski coach, regular ski instruction, which is, general recreational skiers, and having camps for general recreational skiers, and having taught general recreational skiers, and taught, let's face it, I've trained instructors when I was on the demo team in PSIA. And so I have a pretty good idea what instructors are taught. And even currently we have many instructors who come to our camp. So I know where they are and what they're learning and what they're working on. So, and they see the stuff that comes up on the internet.
Yeah.
So enough of that, but the system, which, first book was Phantom Move, and then I elaborated on the second book with a lot of balancing type exercises and accessing more balance for people. And then when I came up with the Essentials book, which was the 5 essentials, it makes it easier for people to fit it all together. What the really important movements are in skiing, and how to access each within the essentials, each movement. So anyways, we've been teaching skiing in a different way, and we have a different access to people, a different way of interpreting how ski instruction works, because we have access to people who come to our camps, multi-camps, not just 2 or 3 lessons and then you never see the person again. And that's what most ski instruction is like. Most ski instruction in ski school, at ski areas. Very few people do ongoing with the same coach, building their skiing over the years. And that's what it takes to become a really good skier. And we're really fortunate in our camps that we build skiers. We've had skiers who've been skiing with us for 20 years coming to camp, in between taking private lessons. And I can tell you, those are really good skiers now. And they ski with the same movements that our coaches ski with, and that the World Cup skiers ski with. And that's PMTS is based on World Cup skiing. But it's also boiled down so that recreational skiers can use the same movements. And that's what my coaches are trained to do. They're trained differently. They're trained at a higher level. And you know the difference because you've been trained in both systems as I have. I had to qualify with PSIA system to get on their national demonstration team. I know what they teach. I know how they qualify people. I've been an examiner and a trainer for instructors, and I still train instructors. So I'm current with what they use and what they're being trained with. So on the internet, what I'm seeing is some of these instructors And it's not rank and file as much in PSIA type instructors. It's more their, what they might call their trainer level or upper trainer level, put out videos on their own. And not all of them are authorized by PSIA. They're doing individual stuff as well.
Yeah.
And they come up, it comes up to me and I see it and I watch it for a few minutes, and it's not like I go searching for it, but it's there in front of me. And I watch for a minute or two and I go, oh no, they're copying PMTS, but they're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Well, they're grabbing a piece of it and yeah.
And not only are they grabbing pieces of it, but then they portray it incorrectly. Especially the order in which the movements happen. And sometimes they focus on the wrong movement, which is really obvious to me and any of our instructors, anybody who knows PMTS, even my clients. I mean, my clients watch this and they go, hey, Harold, that's that guy who tried to copy your system. He's doing it backwards. Yeah. So here's a little history. I'll go back with some history. When I first started teaching PMTS, writing my books, I got a lot of notoriety because I was also bringing it up in the ski magazine articles I was writing for Snow Country and Skiing magazine. So PSI's response to what I was doing, what was I doing? Well, phantom move is lighten or lift the foot, get a narrower stance, tip the inside leg, right? First. And for 20 years, you never heard this from anybody on the internet, or 25 years, 30 years. Nobody talked about it. But the tipping point thing that I was bringing up, now it's happening, right? There are a lot of people out there copying PMTS, my system, basically.
Yeah, or gaining inspiration from other people that have got some of the idea, and it snowballs in different directions, which is what we're trying to clear up today.
Right. So we've got
what I mean? Because someone can watch someone else's and go, oh, I can use a piece of that, and not even,
And it's convoluted and it's all over the place now.
I guess it's a bit like Chinese whispers. Like it starts here, but then the further away it gets from the source, which is Harald Harb, who invented, the primary movements teaching system, it gets convoluted, which is tricky because your system is so specifically, like it's easy to use once you know it, but to learn it, there's some work you need to put in, and then you're free to go use it, kind of thing. It's not
I go back to the history again. At first, when I was recognized for having a teaching system that was totally different from PSIA and what they taught, and even the Coaches Association teaching, right? At first, they came out publicly and said, oh, that stuff that Harald Harb is doing doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
Lifting the foot, bending the leg, tipping the inside foot. That doesn't work. We don't do that. It doesn't work. That you'll never go anywhere, right? Yeah. Well, then after a while, they saw the success, and then they couldn't say that anymore because that made them look silly, right?
Yeah.
And so what they did to cover themselves, they started putting out that, oh, we've already done that. All right.
Right. So kind of claiming it.
Yeah, we've already used that. We've used that in our system. Well, if you go back to their manuals and you talk to any of the instructors, they say, no, we don't use that. Well, first of all, I was chastised for telling people lift a ski off the ground. I was chastised for tipping. I mean, the word tipping never even entered the vocabulary of skiing until I wrote my books.
Yeah.
Tipping literally was not a word used in ski teaching. And, to me, it was the number one thing to do. It was never a question that was the most important thing in skiing.
Yeah.
Well, now, guess what? People are catching on to tipping and using that word. And they're also talking about inside, using the inside. Or
the inside half. Yeah.
Well, that's where they get confused. They don't really understand how to transfer balance from one to the other without standing up. They'll do that.
Yeah.
It's not, if you stand up, you kill everything you're trying to do in PMTS. If you're trying to copy PMTS and you're having people stand up, you're not going to get it. because that's not how it works, and it will never work that way.
Yeah.
And that's what they're demonstrating when I see the videos. They stand up.
Yeah.
And they talk about, rather than getting the weight off one foot, they talk about standing on the other one. So they don't even understand how people move from one ski to the other without thinking, pushing off and standing up to get over to the other side. Anyways, those are just the tip of the iceberg, and there's a lot more going on and a lot worse. So I can get into the specifics, but we're going to talk about that on our new project, right?
That's right. Yeah,
we're going to debunk all of this. We're going to debunk ski instruction, ski coaching, and we're going to expose what is really happening in skiing by the best skiers and how the best skiers move, so that you can learn how to move that way. And Peter, why don't you give us a little background about our project?
Well, I guess one of the reasons why we haven't been online a lot is because we've been working sort of for the last 6 months to build an online academy, the Harb Ski Academy, where we're kind of, because there's only so much you can do in this space and through these videos, and then there's always a lot of comments. So we just thought, we'll build a community of people that may have trained with you, worked with you, or just watched some videos or read your books, or, I mean, you're out there pretty well. But then it's a matter of us, we're going to kind of go behind the scenes in a paid environment with a low sort of monthly fee, where we'll gain access to you each week, where you can get these kind of questions answered rather than having to rely on going out to the broader internet, looking at a Harald video, and then 5 minutes later, because I get these videos all the time, I don't send them to you anymore because there's no point, right? But I'll be watching your stuff and then I'll watch someone else's, and it's like it's essentially, if you don't understand Harald's system, it's essentially like you're trying to walk through a front door, but you're walking backwards to do it. So you don't even get through the door to see what's on the other side, because you're getting stopped before you even get there, in a sense, because the information is, rather than just walk through the door, we'll start walking backwards. And so you're never going to get to the door or see, I guess, how Harald's system works on the other side. So we thought, and the other reason was, because your camps sell out in 24 hours each year, we talked and said, well, how else can people get access to you? So, we've got the new setup, the new couch system. We've got access to you, and you put your hand up to be available each week to go live inside the group. Now we're going to take bits and pieces of that and sort of share it with the wider community and keep getting the message out, because we want to make sure that people are getting the best information possible. But at the same time, this requires work. Like, I met you in 1997, and I'd come from a traditional teaching system. I'd come from a misaligned system. I was super knock-kneed, as you know. And so it wasn't just I had to relearn what you teach. I also had to relearn how to move what you teach and reset my alignment up. And so that was a whole series. And then in 2002, I trained with you guys, or 2001, I think, trained as a coach. And then I trained another few thousand people in your system. And you've trained tens of thousands of people now, sort of live. And then if you build it out on top of that, if people are just sticking, because I'll have friends, I guess I'll say it another way, I'll have friends that'll send me stuff and say, what do you think? I'm like, don't send me this stuff. There's no point. I'm not going to comment on it. I don't want to spend my time. I've only got a certain amount of headspace for what works. And I'm not saying other systems may not work or whatever, and that's fine. But once you get into your system and you use it and you own it and you understand it and you can replicate it in all kind of conditions, and I'm not interested in anything else. Like, that's like, I don't have enough headspace to like, you can go in there and critique it, and you know what I mean? But I just want to see your stuff, and that's it. I'm happy to be.
The thing about what you're saying there is that, our system has a building process, and the movements are very well defined. They're very clear. And we teach people to realize what body part to move and how to move it.
Yeah.
And so you notice everything I say about teaching skiing is how.
Mm-hmm.
We don't teach outcomes. We teach how.
Yeah.
Then you receive an outcome. Everything else that's taught is outcome based, and this is the way you should do it. This is the way you should look, but they don't tell you how. And in the process of building that, if you screw up one piece of it, then it's like it goes on in a different direction, and the person gets confused.
Yeah.
And the way we've been evolving ski teaching in a different way than ski schools do.
Yeah.
Through camps, through week-long sessions, through people coming back year after year, or they skip a year and then come back another year.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different teaching way, because we see exactly what worked with a multitude of different bodies, a multitude of different skill levels, a multitude of alignment situations. Yeah. Nobody has this kind of information in ski teaching. Nobody in the world has it documented as we have. Mm-hmm. We do videos for every day, and we critique those videos every day at every camp that we run. Mm-hmm. And those are stored. Our students have access to them. I can go back 5 years and look at a video of a skier that came to camp and he wants to come back to camp. He hasn't been coming. And I can see where his skiing was. I know exactly whether he's regressed or progressed. Yeah. And we know where the pitfalls are. We've worked them out. We know we've tried and tested this system over 20,000 people over 25 years. Yeah. And nobody else has done this. They've taught a different system, and now they think they can jump on a bandwagon and say, we do this. We teach the phantom move, or we teach the inside foot. Yeah. Nobody talked about the inside half of the body 10 years ago. No one talked about skiing is about the inside half. Mm-hmm. Until even 2-3 years ago, you never heard about everything's about the inside half of the body. It's all about big toe edge, steer the ski with the outside ski, add angle with your knee, So, and now people want to jump on the bandwagon and say, oh, look, I got the magic pill here. I've got it figured out. I'm copying Harb, but I'm not going to tell you I copied Harb. But I'm using his stuff, but I don't even know how to use it. In other words, I'm going to use it, but I don't even I've never been trained in it. I don't have any certification levels in it. Yeah. I've never been to one of his sessions where he coaches. I've done it for PSIA. I went through every step in PSIA. I know what they teach. I know their movement patterns. I've examined the people who even want to do it after I was demo team. And people want to just jump on it and in 5 minutes be experts. And that's what the internet's turned into. And it's really concerning. Yeah. Concerning to me, because what's going to happen is people are going to get the wrong impression of PMTS by these people trying to copy it incorrectly.
Yeah, that's right. So we're going to continue to spread the message of what PMTS is, but at the same time, those people that just want to immerse themselves in accurate information can come and join the community, and they'll get weekly access to you to get your questions asked, because I can understand why people are out there trying to help, and they'll get a piece of your work, or they'll see someone else's interpretation of your work, and they'll try it, and they'll get some good momentum with it, and so they'll want to share it with others. But that doesn't necessarily help if you haven't done the full thing.
The analogy is pretty clear, isn't it? If you own a Ferrari and you're really desperate because you can't find any Ferrari mechanics, you go to the local Ford guy and say, hey, change the oil on my Ferrari. Yeah. That's not going to work. Yeah. Or vice versa. If you have a Ford and you just don't have the training, you don't have the background. You know what's involved with a Ferrari oil change? It's about a $3,000 oil change every so many miles or whatever. Yeah. Or a valve adjustment or most of the valve adjustments you have to do with the engine out.
Yeah.
So you can figure out what that's going to be involved, what's involved in that. But so you can't just pick a piece of our system, because our system has been built over the years and it's been refined. It's been been streamlined and efficient. And the people who just pick up these bits and pieces, and the major focus is on the phantom move, the release, but they don't know how to even build someone who's in a wedge to get to that point.
Yeah.
Where you can start working with them on it, and then beyond, they don't know where to go from there. They don't see how we have evolved the system and unwound it and really shown it.
Because you can buy your books still. Anyone can be an expert skier 1 and 2, and then the essentials of skiing. There's also your instructor manual that you can buy. And just for the listeners out there or the viewers, like your green level certification in PMTS is technically the hardest, because what you're doing at the beginner level, so green, blue, black, a certification in Harald's system, which is pretty straightforward. But you have to, as a ski coach, having gone through it, you need to know everything at the green level, because the green level is building to the blue level, which is building to the black level. So you can't screw up the green level, because if you screw up the green level, well, there's, is kind of how your system works. And so this is what we're trying to highlight through this call. I think we're getting there, in that if you just take bits and pieces.
The foundation of understanding the biomechanics is in the green level. In the green level, you're going to do rudimentary stuff in ski boots on snow, and then put the skis on snow in on the flats. And you're going to go through every movement that an expert makes at those levels, where in regular ski instruction, you can't do that, because an expert doesn't ski with a snowplow.
That's right. They're going to drop that.
We teach the movements that you're going to use as a high-level parallel skier at the beginning parallel levels. And we do it in ski boots and in skis. And we teach you how the body moves for those movements. And then the student learns how to do that. And then they have access to those movements in a very safe environment that's very shallow slope. They can do the movements we did in boots. Then they can do the movements in skis on the flats. And then they can do them on a slight incline on a very going to a flat terrain. And if you don't have the foundation of biomechanics and understanding how the body should move, how you create balance, how you create the tipping movements, how do you create the counterbalancing movements, if you don't have those fundamentals, you're not going to be able to teach it to a wedge Christie skier who wants to become parallel. You're not going to give them the right order of movements, when they should happen, how they should happen, out of your old turn into your new turn.
And because I'd come from learning how to be a traditional ski coach, when I transitioned over to teaching camps, right? And we ran some beginner camps back in the day. We mainly taught blue, dark blue and black camps, was our core business. But occasionally people would contact us and say, can you do a beginner's camp? I'd be like, sure. And you'd be taking them through day one in boots, and we'd be working on the movements, and they'd be like, how's this position? In the back of my head, I'm going, holy crap, because they're literally making World Cup body positions, and they don't even realize it, because they've got no concept of what they should or shouldn't be doing. Your system is a winning formula.
The foundation is balance, and we start with balance, and we add balance continuously through. So when you get to the phantom move level, you already understand balance.
Yeah, your body already instinctively can balance on skis.
Who doesn't have the foundation of PMTS and tell them to balance on a little toe edge, and that's what they're telling them to do. Yeah. It's just absurd. It's the fundamental understanding of ski teaching these people don't even have. They're on the internet talking about get on the little toe edge, and they don't even understand that people have never been there before. They don't even know how to build balance so that that skier can even access what they're talking about, even if they're talking about it correctly, which they're not. So I'm just trying, this discussion here is only to alert skiers to the fact that you're not ready for what these people are trying to do unless you have trained the foundation and the beginning movements and understand how you have balance to make the movements we're even talking about. And it's really, that's why it's so disconcerting and really concerning to me that they're going to make PMTS look bad and make it look like it doesn't work.
Right.
We know it works. We've proven it works. We've got people coming back all the time for more because they're improving, and our camps are full within 24 hours. There's no dispute that this works, but you can make it not work if you do it wrong.
Yeah, like a Ferrari, you can make a Ferrari not work pretty quickly as well. You know, if you choose the wrong gears or don't service it correctly or put tires on.
The wrong oil in the thing and it blow up. Well, yeah. And so do you have a quick...
Let's jump in. Yeah, we were going to get to this earlier, but we always chat, which is cool. So let's jump in here. We've got some images, and I'll put an intro in and I'll say at whatever point in the video, if you want to fast forward, you can jump in.
Well, this is this is the end of a turn going. Where the fall line is horizontal to this photo. And the fall line is the angle of my ski pole that I'm about to tap in the snow. Yeah. And then the next frame is.
Yeah, let's jump ahead. You just tell me when you. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's the tap, and then next frame is the arrow with the red. Where's the that's the correct way to get into a transition. And people who have seen some of these videos online, you're going to see some major differences in this graphic compared to what you see in some of the online videos where they try to copy PMTS. The stance that you're going to see these people demonstrate doesn't even come close to the stance you learn from what we teach. Yeah. And it's not even going to be close to a still frame like this one, based on the videos that I've seen so far.
Yeah, and back in the day, you were always talking about a narrow stance because we teach balance. So if like when you're standing normally, you're not standing in a wide stance when you're waiting in the bank kind of thing. That's stable, but it may not be balanced. And your system is built around, you used to say the best ski racers are the ones that are maintaining and can ski with the highest level of balance throughout the whole run. So
if people want to get more information about this series that you're putting up, it's on my blog. It's if you Google Harald Harb blogspot.
I'll put a link in the description.
Yeah, and then take that and then there's a transfer right there. It's already transferred now. And the next, then you can put up. You see, if you notice, there's no extension here.
Yeah, like if we go backwards, you can see there's not a lot going on, right? It's all happening, from the waist down, even though the upper body is supporting it.
Even the relationship of upper body to outside ski boot is very different from what they teach in PSIA, and it's very different from what the PSIA people who are trying to copy PMTS are showing. Yeah. And now we can go to, you have something of the world's best skier on there?
Yeah, one of them.
All right, so this is Marcel Hirscher when he was still ski racing at the world-class level, winning most of the races and winning the World Cup 8 times in a row. Yeah. And you can see from here at the end of this turn, his next move is identical, but going maybe 20 miles an hour faster than I was demonstrating. And he's lifting his ski off the ground, and again, there's no extension. And then his phantom move is coming up right now. Yeah. And the next frame, and there it is. I mean, there it is, and it's I think that's the best skiers in the world are using exactly what I wrote about in my first book. What I did all my videos about, and then second and third, and the instructor manual. And that's a different way of skiing and it's using the inside half of the body, not only with the foot, not only with the tipping, but with the counteracting and with the counterbalance.
Mm-hmm.
And then we won't even go into fore-aft balance right now because that's being taught wrong. That's not even mentioned.
Yeah.
They leave that out because they still haven't figured out how to do that yet.
Yeah.
So they're still talking about, that's why they talk about extension, get your hips forward.
Mm-hmm.
Skiing is not about getting your hips forward. If anybody really wants to know how to stay forward on your skis, it's not about getting your hips forward. And I'll elaborate on that when we get into the Harb Academy more in detail.
Yeah, so essentially for the listeners out there, there's 5 core essentials in Harald's system, and they all interrelate. So to be able to, I mean, Marcel Hirscher is, arguably the best of the best, almost of all time. Well, you could argue he is, right? Yeah. And the reason why he can make this look so simple is because everything is working at 10 out of 10.
That's right.
And so where we're concerned is that someone might be saying, well, you just need to do this small part of this one element, right? And even if you got that at a 10 out of 10, what about the other 5? What about the other 4 elements that support that element? If they're only at a 2 out of 10, then you're not gonna be there. So essentially, the reason why we decided to build the academy was because there's a lot of people that want to spend time with you, Harald, and they just A, they can't get to camp because they sell out. B, you're based in Colorado and there's a global audience now. I mean, we got a bit of a shock because our first 2 chats last year had over 100,000 views.
Yeah.
And we just said, well, why don't we catch up and have a chat? So then we sat down and said, well, how can we help these people? And we went out to some of our VIP clients and said, well, what is it? What would you like to do? And they're like, well, we need access to Harald because we just don't have access to Harald. And there's so much information out there. How do we cut through? And we're like, okay, well, what if we built an online community? What if we filled it full of, we've got 32 videos in there that are currently going in there at the moment of your life's work. Plus,
well, that's the other point, Peter. I have a blog, I have YouTube, I have Facebook, 2 Facebook pages with ski information. I'm on Instagram, and there are different parts of PMTS in those different locations, and they're all segments. Yeah. And people would have to go looking for them over here, looking for them over here, and then maybe they go back to the book and reference a book. And they kind of paste it together. I mean, the most concise place is the instructor manual. You can go from A to Z. Yeah. And the essentials book. And the essentials has all the videos for each essentials as well. So, but we're going to put all that in one place. We're going to put it all in the Harb Academy. Yeah. And then I'm going to come on, if not weekly, bi-weekally. And when
we're still working that out. During camps, it's tricky. Yeah. I'm
not going to be available during the week of a camp. Maybe if I get, because we do video, it takes about 2 to 3 hours every day.
Yeah.
So I'm going late into the evening on camp days, but as soon as camp's over, we're going to have open forums. We're going to have discussions. We're going to have question and answer periods. People, like you said, they're going to have access to me. I'm going to be able to answer their questions.
That's right.
I'm going to be able to put video to show the answers to their questions. Yeah. And then as we evolve, and this is just the beginning, we already have a ton of information on the Harb Academy. Yeah. As we're, behind the scenes, we're working diligently at putting this together. Mm-hmm. But we're going to have more. We're going to be able to do one corner of it will be what you might call the platinum gold standard or whatever, where people can send in a video and get critique.
Do video like you do at camp.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll be able to get your video critique. You'll be able to get the responses for the movements. Yeah. We have an important thing in PMTS that we use with our coaches and our students called the SMIM, which is picking out the single most important movement. The shotgun approach never worked for anybody. The one-time approach for everybody in the group never worked for everybody. The single important movement for every student that we teach is crucial. And without PMTS, the full understanding, you can't do that with other systems. It's not available. There's no way to pick out your single most important move that's going to make the biggest difference for you with other systems.
Yeah.
Because they don't break it down into the small parts that the instructor knows how to pick out for that person.
Yeah.
So yeah, the academy is going to be great, and it's a fun project that we're going to have a really in-depth relationships with people, and they can have a real understanding of how skiing works.
Yeah, we're really excited because Harald's system is built on a movement system. So he taught me that, you know, to be a coach, you need to pick out the single most important movement that's going to give you the biggest bang for the buck. Improve that, and once that's at a level, then you go for the next one.
Yeah, all the other levels go up. You know, I use a bar graph and I draw it for people. You know, the lowest one on the bar graph is your SMIM, and then you bring that up to the others, and then you pick the next lowest one, and it just keeps climbing. The whole system, the whole skier improves, and they improve with all of their essentials at the same level or same rate.
Yeah, that's right.
So you're not becoming good at one part of your skiing, and when you need the other essential, you fall apart. You know,
that's right. There's no point having.
You're solid all the way around in your skiing. Yeah. You can use on all conditions all the time.
Yeah. So Harald uses a bar chart in his mind to bring everyone up to the same level, and I use a circle like a wheel, and I break the wheel into 5. So if we're talking the essentials, it's broken into 5 essentials. And each of those wheels is out of 10. So the outer rim would be out of 10. But if you've got, let's say you've got 4 essentials at 9 out of 10, and one of the essentials is at 2 out of 10, you think, well, how's that wheel going to roll? It's going to be rolling along, and all of a sudden it's going to clunk, right? And so the idea is so that's how Harald developed his system, which then I borrowed and turned into, with his permission, into like a big game academy like wheel. But essentially we're in the business of building skiers winning formulas. So whatever's missing, we identify, and then we give you a winning formula of how to build it, because we've started testing the academy with a few VIP people we've put in there already. And Jeff, for instance, is a long time, you know, would go to every camp ever if he had the time and resource. You know what I mean? So would everyone who pretty much works with you, but he just hasn't had enough time to get into camp. So we've been pointing him in the direction of the dryland training, so he can zero in on some of these movements before he gets to the snow, because there's only a certain amount of time you've got on snow, but man, you've got a lot of time off snow. So the academy isn't just about how do you improve on snow, it's how do you improve sort of.
Well, my
365.
My comment I always use is your body won't go where your mind hasn't been. And what you're doing in your off time is you're preparing your mind so your body can go where it needs to go. And you cut that time that you would be on the slope. I mean, you cut it down by 80%, 70%, because the instructor doesn't have to re-explain and why you don't get it, because it hasn't gone. You haven't figured it out yet in your mind, and with the academy, you're going to be able to figure it out. You'll go on snow and you'll know exactly what to do, and then if you have a watchful eye over what you're doing, I mean, the acceleration of learning just goes up and up and up and up. The other part that we haven't mentioned yet, when with our system, everybody gets evaluated with their alignment and their inner boot fitting and how the ankle works and how the foot works. Ski instructors don't know any of this stuff, and they're telling people to do things they can't possibly do because the boots will not do it for them, and their feet and their ankles and their shins in the boot won't allow them to do it. And don't discount this. I know a lot of people go into expensive boots and go to fancy boot fitters, but they're not doing the alignment correctly. They're not doing the cuff work. They're not doing the inside of the boot sculpting to get the ankle to be able to roll properly, and the footbed that supports that. And then the underboot can't even get your shin and your so that both skis are going exactly the same when you tip.
Yeah.
So you can tip with one and the other one can follow and keep the same angles to a certain point in the turn before you get a long and short leg at the apex of a turn. So, you can't just go out and throw PMTS words around and tell people how they should stand without any of this background. And you don't have a complete system. We have a complete system.
Yeah.
Harb Academy is going to show you what the complete system is, just as if you went to our shop and got a complete evaluation of your biomechanics and your alignment and your boot work. And then from there, we know what you're going to be able to do on the hill. We're not going to just send you out. Our technicians aren't going to just send you out without somebody knowing what boot work's been done and then watch you in the snow with that boot work finished and then refine it on the snow. And if you don't do that part, you're wasting your time. You're wasting valuable time. You don't have the time to go down the wrong road, ladies and gentlemen. You just don't. The thing is that what people don't realize, when you learn an inaccurate method and it's portrayed inaccurately, even though you're trying to do the right thing, you're going to go down the wrong road. And you do that, it takes twice as long to come back and fix it. Yeah.
And I think even longer.
It's excruciating to come back and fix what if you've ingrained it in your head, a movement that's not going to take you to the next level. And that's the key here. If you're getting a movement and you're getting wrong information about that movement, and it's not going to get you to the next level, coming back from it is excruciating. Yeah. And you have to unlearn it and relearn everything. Yeah. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth the time.
And so part of the reason for the Academy is constantly getting feedback, because what we want to do is we want to build your winning formula and see you trending in the right direction 365 days. So while you're not on snow, you can be working, you can be building, you can be improving your equipment. You don't necessarily even have to fly to Colorado. I mean, if you're lucky enough to be in Colorado, just show up, like Jesus. But, like for us in Australia or people in Japan or Europe or wherever, we can, you can, and the team can mentor them through making the right decisions, making the right purchase decisions. I mean, it's because you see it all the time. You were talking about movement then, but one of our colleagues, I guess, and good buddies, Marty, like he got into the Yellowhead boot, which is a phenomenally good boot. You fit it for him and everything like that, and then he didn't see you, and he got into the next. I won't name the brand, but it just wasn't performing as well. And he always talks about it. He goes, "Oh God, my skiing went backwards for those 2 seasons because he jumped into a boot that wasn't. It was good, but it wasn't where it needs to be. Because if you go and look at Marcel Hirscher, like one of the reasons he can do all of that is because he's got a really optimized setup to begin with. And where you come from ski coaching is you came from the World Cup training level. You raced World Cup yourself. You know how this all happens. This information isn't necessarily shared at those levels because everyone's competitive, whereas you built that information, then you just kept bringing it to your athletes and then also to the regular public. So Harold's system is based on getting everything right in your winning formula. So if you look at the 5 essentials, that's part of it. But then if you look at the alignment, that's another wheel, or it's another set of bar diagrams. And so what we're saying is Marty had his alignment set up at 9 and 10 out of 10s, but then he changed boot. And because he lives in Australia, he didn't get to see you for a couple of seasons. Yeah. And all of a sudden, his skiing's going backwards. Because I remember back in the day, I'd watch Marty and he was busy working, right? So he didn't get a lot of time on snow and we were racing. And he'd come over and I'd be looking at him day one when he was in the yellow boot. And I'm like, geez, Marty hasn't missed much because we're also, we helped each other, but we're also competitors against each other, right? Because we're good mates, but we competed against each other. So we'd always be checking in. It's like, wow, Marty's doing pretty well for someone who hasn't been on snow, whereas I was on snow for 6 months of the year.
The alignment thing is crucial, and if you're racing, it's even more crucial. But
Yeah.
The other part that people don't recognize, instructors don't recognize. There are two things that I teach that you might say aren't skiing movements. All right.
Yeah.
Well, or part of skiing movement teaching. Well, the first one is I teach balance first.
Yeah.
First balance, and then movement with balance. All right.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is I teach how to learn. And we're going to be covering that.
Yeah.
The academy. And this is beyond sports psychology.
Mm-hmm.
This is how to learn to ski and manage your skiing while you're skiing. And I've broken it down into the different components of how you learn to monitor your movements as you're moving down the slope. Yeah. Nobody teaches you how to do that. And sports psychology doesn't teach you how to do that. And what's in this is, and I'll just give you a frame of reference for this.
Yeah.
The best tennis players in the world, and even NCAA level, which is one level lower, but not a whole lot lower.
Yeah.
And tennis professionals. And I was a tennis professional for many years. So the analogy rings true to me. And it happens in skiing, exactly what I'm going to say now. It happens in skiing to the best skiers and to skiers who've learned how to manage their skiing while they're skiing down the hill.
Yeah.
Any athlete that has been successful will tell you this. Things slow down. Everything slows down in front of me when I'm doing it correctly. When a tennis player is winning and having a great day, the ball slows down for them. They can see the ball earlier. They can see the ball coming toward them, and they're ready to hit the shot they want to hit. They're not rushing.
Yeah.
The same thing happens when you're skiing in a race course or in slalom. When you have the right understanding of movements and the order they should happen in, and how to use it, how to monitor yourself while you're doing it. The course, your speed slows down, and you see the course coming at you as if it was in slow motion. And that's when you can get there with your skiing, and that's all here. Yeah. It's all in your head. So I'll give you the tip of the iceberg on that. When you teach someone their SMIM, the single most important movement, and they've been working on another one, all of a sudden the one they were working on, maybe that day or even that week or the day before, diminishes because all of a sudden they've changed their focus.
They've switched their focus, to the new sim.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, how do you learn how to change focus without losing the other one? That's the question.
Right.
And that's part of what we're doing in the academy. We're going to be able. So it's not sports psychology. It's how to learn how to be your best coach, and it's also how to learn how to manage yourself and your movements, and how to detect which movement you should be using. At a certain moment down the hill. And nobody teaches this. It's not out there. I have it written. It's all, if you haven't written what you're going to teach, you're not teaching it. You don't know it.
Right.
That's for a ski instructor or coach, I tell them this all the time. If you haven't written down how you're going to teach a certain thing or a certain session, and then also validate what the students got out of that, you're not teaching it. You're just playing the role. You're playing the role. You're wearing the jacket. You got the patch, but you're not teaching it.
There's a big difference to putting what you're about to teach or what you've taught in the past into a series of books, instructor manuals, and also continuously refined it versus being the recipient of something and then trying to teach that. I'd agree with you 100% on that. So part of the academy is we're going to be there, and the other academy members are all going to be there So everyone's working on their winning formula. Everyone's working on improving their sims. And so the idea is when we chat online, it'll be like if someone's posting a video, Harold will give his winning formula, but the other members can chime in and say, I had the same thing. And you know what? This is what really works for me out of that sim. So this is the level.
Community participation is going to be a big part of this.
It's going to be amazing.
Because part of an exclusive community that really understands. You know what's really dangerous about PMTS?
What's that?
And my clients already know this. They know more about ski instructors.
Oh God, yeah. Well,
they tell me they ride the lift now, and they watch ski instructors ski down. They can critique ski instructors. They can critique the general public skiing, and they do it. And you know what? We've trained their eye, and we've trained their body, and we've trained their mind, so they know how to move, and they can start analyzing others because they do that in our courses. They watch other skiers that ski PMTS and are learning it. They can analyze it and see how people are learning. That is hugely powerful. When you're learning the right movements and you're with 5 other people and they're doing the same thing you're doing, and you see the changes as they're learning. Yeah. So
you're learning how to calibrate. Because what happens at camp is you get to watch the other people in the group working on their sims. So they're calibrating their performance. They're also seeing how the coach is giving them feedback. At the same time, they're working on their own sim. So everyone's really clear at camp. You're very clear. You're not all over the shop working on 100 things.
There's no misunderstanding here. There's no, figuring out, there's no close enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's either done or not done. There's none of this. Yeah. Well, that was almost better. No, it was either the movement or it wasn't the movement.
And one of the things that you taught me is, when someone comes down, like as a coach, we would talk about, their sim. You've taught us a teaching system to link it to their motivation, so they're fully bought in. Because even though you can be in an experience with 6 or multiple people, every time I was in a learning experience with you, Harold, over those 15 years of training, I'd always be like, wow, I know there's other people around, but this is for me, because you know how to, you teach how to do that.
It's about whoever you're getting feedback to, it's about their movements. It's not about the other 5 in the group, even though they're working on the same thing, but everybody has a little bit of individuality.
That's right. There's nuances. So they do that. So what happens is you get the ability to be able to self-calibrate. And then if you can self-calibrate your own performance, you start to move from being a student to being a self-coach. And this is our goal with the academy, because you may not never necessarily be able to come to camp. We hope you do. But the next best thing is going to be going through this. It's basically getting a PhD in how to ski. I shouldn't be rude to the PhD people, because I've never done it. I don't even know what's involved. But essentially, it's the highest level of training and self-training and understanding within a community of people that are all focused on the same thing. This way,
I don't have any issues with if you're fully qualified in our system, and know how to teach it and know the alignment process and can identify alignment.
It's a big commitment.
You have a PhD in ski teaching.
Yeah, it's a big commitment.
There's not a lot of people walking around the planet who have a PhD in ski teaching.
Well, that's
look. Yeah, I can name coaches on a national ski team they should have PhDs in ski coaching, but they don't.
Yeah, so this comes from the fact that Harold, Race World Cup, top ski coach, top race coach, expert in alignment. So essentially every element that can improve your skiing. I mean, if you go to Harold's house back in the day, Australians, as I've mentioned before in previous ones, I just moved in with Harold and used to live there sort of 6 weeks on tail end of the seasons in between going and coaching camps. But he's got every book known to man on biology, physiology, mindset. Like, his library is, so it's not, none of this is by chance. And so it's exciting for us to put together an environment where other people, that basically the ideal person to come to Harb Ski Camp is someone who wants to improve their skiing. But if you're anything like me, where if you're not going skiing, you're thinking about going skiing, or you're planning about going skiing, or you're planning about what you're going to do when you go. So basically all I'm saying is you can put kind of the academy in your pocket through the app, and you can be on a bus heading into work, and you know what, you can just check in on what's the latest, what are the members talking about, and what are we sharing that's working in an environment where the language is already established, known, understood. So we don't have to explain a whole lot. We just have to get on with the job of improving our understanding, improving our ability to self-calibrate, and essentially being able to have that. The end game is when you go out on snow, things do slow down, and you do get, like, to get to your level, Harald, where you've got a key word for everything that you do. Even when you explain it to me, I'm like, oh, I'm still working on getting to that absolute level.
So I thought we might keep this under an hour. I think we're right at
Yeah. Let's jump off. Yeah, because we'll just keep going for another hour. Yeah.
We can go for another hour, but the academy, within the academy, once you're in, you're going to be able to ask any question you want. You're going to be able to cover all these things. It's going to be detailed, explained, and you're going to go out with a full repertoire of ski power that like nobody else. And that's why I say our clients, they know more about skiing than ski instructors.
Well, they know more about their own skiing.
They've been trained with more than what ski instructors get trained with, and not in a school way, in a way that benefits them to learn how to do it for their own better skiing. And it's not about, well, you got to pass this to understand. You have to explain it back to me accurately. No, they want this. They do it because they want it. And the more they want it, the more they understand it. And the more they understand, the better they ski. And if you do it without it, you're just playing around. You're not serious. We're serious, and that's a luxury that I have, that what keeps me going in ski coaching is that we have clients. We have special clients. I don't want to sound like Donald Trump. But we have the best clients in the world.
Well, you do.
We have
do.
Clients
well, we do.
Better than anybody else's clients. You know why? Because they're serious about learning. They're serious about their skiing. And we love coaching our clients. We love coaching the people that come to our camps because they're there. They're into it. They want to get better, and they're doing it. So I mean, with that, I think we're well over the hour now.
Yeah, that's right. And we were just going to catch up for a brief chat, but this is what happens. And obviously, in the academy, we hand it over to everyone else because it's like, well, what are you working on and where do you need help? Where's your video? Harald, yada, yada. We move on to the next person. But there's a whole lot of things. There's Harald Live, there's Q&As, there's a whole heap of stuff. Welcome Wednesdays where...
And we'll fill you in on a whole lot more of what we're doing as we go along here.
We sort of haven't officially launched yet, but it's all necessarily built. So this wasn't even going to be a launch thing. So it's turned into that. But that's because Harald and I are so excited about creating a group of nerdy skiers, not necessarily nerdy, right? But just people that are into their skiing, into hanging out, into a community where we can just talk openly and honestly. And because even on this video, we're still a little bit cautious of what we say and don't say, because just by the nature that it's public, whereas we can go into it'll be at another level than the academy.
It'll be skiing unplugged.
Yeah, that's right. And so we worked out what a great place to hang out. Like, I mean, the only time I hang out on Instagram is I I follow guys on the PGA Tour and in skiing. And after that, I'm out. I don't care about social media. I don't care about anything else, right? And so I'm excited about the Harb community to get back into it, because I've been out of coaching for a while, raising my twin boys. But what a great way to reconnect with people that are just into ski improvement, and they got questions, because I've still got questions. Every time we talk, I'm like, and pinging things up, or you're just reminding me of something that you told me 25 years ago that okay, we're out. Okay, so thank you for tuning in, and thank you to Harald once again, and we'll leave some links below, and people might be watching this 5 years from now, and the community will be huge by then. So over and out. So thanks once again, Harald. Yeah.
December 26th, 2024.
Yeah, I mean, we've got.
Just in case you go see this 5 years from now, you'll know when we did it.
Yeah, we've currently got 7 members, but they're just a small group, and we've kept it between ourselves, but it's all systems go from now on. Let's just drop raise the flag, and we're on. So hope to see you in the academy. If we don't see you in the academy, we'll see you online. We'll share some stuff that we share in the academy, and I'll be very specific with what we share, and just snippets and things like that, and onwards and upwards. So thanks once again, Harald, and good luck with your next series of camps, and we'll see you on the other side.
And a happy ski year to everybody.